Welcome to Pain to Power. I am Maria Kazmi, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting, your host. And this show is brought to you in association with the iRant Network with my producer, Mr. M. Dialogic, behind the scenes. And of course, our Ranters family always here. Welcome, and it is so nice to have you all here with me as we explore how to turn our pain into power and learn how others are leading with love. Before I bring my guest on today, who I'm very excited to introduce to you, I wanted to share some thoughts on this idea of pain and power. So this is a quote from the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And I love this one in particular. She says, "We can make our own normal. We can throw out all the rules and write our own. We can build our lives from the inside out. We can stop asking what the world wants from us and instead ask ourselves what we want for our world. We can stop looking at what's in front of us long enough to discover what's inside us. We can remember and unleash the life-changing, relationship-changing, world-changing power of our own imagination. It might take us a lifetime. Luckily, a lifetime is exactly how long we have." So as you're thinking about your journey of pain to power and healing here with us in community, it is unlearning those narratives of who we think we're supposed to be to truly discover who we are meant to be and just live it with passion and authenticity. And that is exactly who I am bringing on today, which I am super excited. I met this lovely lady in 2020 for the first time as Dr. Lakisha Covert was leading some energy at the very start of Unbound Ed's Standards Institute, which was a week-long institute. And she had some folks up and out of their seats, cheering, hyping everyone up, for people who might have been voluntold to people who voluntarily came. But she has so much energy as she brings everyone into these conversations on talking about social justice and education, but so much more. So please give a round welcome to my amazing guest, Dr. Lakisha Covert.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Thank
excited.
you. I'm so happy for you to be here, and we have been in a journey to get here. So I have to say, we started 2 years ago in our first conversation. And I was saying, I got my notes from that very first conversation. We've got some folks in the chat already. Coco Dream 37, hello and welcome, and Sweet D, hello, welcome. I love it. La Francis Porter, hey, how are you? We're so glad to see so many folks, and our own Ranches fam, Kennedy William, what's up? Salute to you, Ken. I love it. Ace Grape, I'm on point this week. I love it. So many folks out here. This is some of your fans and some of our fans. It's everyone. It's beautiful. So
yes, I recognize some names.
2 years ago, we had our first conversation, and you were supposed to be on the show, and life happened. In fact, very specifically, what happened is you started your doctorate program in educational leadership. So I want to say kudos to you and congratulations, Dr. Lakisha Covert. Like, that's got to be so great to hear. How does it get old ever, or like you just love hearing it?
No, it's new, and in fact, I have to get reminded sometimes because sometimes I forget. That's how new it is, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm a doctor, so I'm still getting used to it.
You're a doctor. You very much are, and that is some blood, pain, and sweat that goes into that. So congratulations for you, and it's great because now you're officially a doctor, and you got to be on the show with us today. So I'm very excited.
Easy, thank you.
And so thank you so much for coming on, really. And so, we talked about this idea of the show is all called Pain to Power. And that is my goal, is always to elevate this experience of pain to power. When you think about that for yourself and in your life, what would you define that as when we take pain and turn it into power?
Yeah, sure. For me in my life, and I'm going to be real personal because I know me the best. I think my pain to power is internal. Growing up, and I tell my story all the time. Growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money. My parents got divorced when I was in elementary school, and we started on this like financial struggle that gave me experiences that made me feel like I was always trying to survive. I needed to survive. I needed to survive. So I think through that experience, some trauma happened, which caused me internally to really, really struggle all the way into my adulthood with some mental and emotional things that only probably about 10 years ago, I've really confronted and dealt with and worked through. So I would say my pain to power is all about my mental and emotional, internal struggle and triumph.
Mm, that's a beautiful thing, though. That internal mental and emotional struggle is real,
Yeah.
and to triumph it is truly power, though. So tell me more about just your upbringing and those experiences for you in just what was it like? What was little Lakisha like?
Oh, you take me way back. If I can remember. Now I was always jolly. Like my aunt always tells me, she said, your eyes are still the same. They're always like excited to do something. And I think I was like that as a child. I've always been busy. I've always had to do like just a lot of stuff. I grew up in a really big family. I have a lot of aunts and uncles. I am the oldest of 11 children myself, seven on my mom's side and four on my father's side. That actually, the four on my father's side, I just met in my adulthood. So I grew up thinking I was only the oldest of seven. And then around in my 30s, I realized I was the oldest of 11. And I was like, oh, I'm still the oldest. Okay. so, so I grew up in a really big family in Washington, D.C. Uh, grew up really to today's standards really poor, and just trying to live, trying to make sure we have a roof over our head and things to eat. But despite that, I really believe I grew up with love. Everyone loved me to the best of their ability, even when it wasn't right for me. I do believe in my heart that everybody loved me to the best of their ability. And then just like all big families, sometimes you're seen, sometimes you're not seen, sometimes you're protected, sometimes you're not. And so I've had all of these different experiences as a young child that I know for sure affected how I thought and moved as an adult.
Hmm. So then, thank you. And so, as you're thinking about like those experiences, and they, like you said, they impacted you as an adult. What are some of um, those things that have stayed with you into adulthood that you had to start to look at a little bit differently? And I guess what made you start to look at things differently, to start to examine those pains and traumas, like you said?
Yeah, so I really don't think I was looking at myself as being different until high school. I think high school really made me look at myself and say, "Oh, you're different," because high school gives you experiences, right? You go on
Mhm.
field trips, and I was on the cheerleading team, so we would travel with the basketball team, and I sang in a choir, so we would go places and sing. And I realized that there is a whole nother world out there than the little block I grew up on. And I knew the way people moved, the way they talked, it was different from me. And that's when I realized that, or I was starting to think that maybe I wasn't supposed to be in some spaces. I would get comments on how I talked, comments on my demeanor. Um, People would treat me different. And I would even say, like, I, I probably experienced racism, but didn't know it was racism because I wasn't used to that. I grew up in a all African American neighborhood, so that was even new to me at the time.
Mm.
And then when I moved to college, that's when I really felt different. And I think in college is the first time I experienced loneliness. It's like, because I was the first one in my family to go to college. So I go to college, I get there. I don't know what college is about. I heard of it. Maybe I knew maybe one person who had gone. So I didn't really know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get there, it's like a whole different world again. It's like school and people from all over the United States. And I didn't know my place. And so I start to feel lonely in that space of college. And then, um, even though I presented myself as confident, I always present myself as confident, even when I wasn't. But people didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. Like when you wake up in the
Mm-hmm.
morning and you can't come out the bathroom, or when you're shaking so much inside, you feel like you want to throw up. Like I would have a lot of those experiences, but nobody would know because I would present myself as always being confident. Even presenting in front of class in college was difficult for me. And then I would get really triggered by like heavy conversations about poor people and Black people. And I didn't understand why I was getting triggered, but I was
Mm.
getting triggered, not understanding what was going on with me at the time. And so this was the spiral I was going down. And I think I may have experienced my first bout of depression, um, like in my first, maybe like my third year of college. Because I went to George Washington University. It is not a predominantly Black school.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Black people were only 12% on campus. So most of my experiences with white people were new. Even Asians, like other races other than Black people, it was just new to me. And I would feel lonely. Like I had no one there who had come from where I come from, who talked like I talked, who understood what I understood. And that would make me feel lonely. And then I would have racialized encounters that I did not understand, that was racial, that made me feel inadequate. So dealing with that and that unknown took me into an emotional spiral where I would get depressed at times and not know what to do with it, not know how to handle it. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that was the journey that I was going on unknowingly, um, thinking that something was wrong with me because I thought
Mm-hmm.
differently, I looked different, I act different, and I needed different things than the people around me.
Mm. And so I thank you so much, Lakisha. Like, I think the honesty in which you just shared that is so important because there's so many other kids, like college kids right now or high school kids right now, that are probably experiencing exactly what you said. And they're adults who have experienced exactly that, right? And I think, I mean, the way you described it, right? There's a physical, but there's a mental, there's just an overall everything emotional. And I see a lot of people in the chat. Thank you, V Smiles. Welcome, my Renters Network. Coco James says, what a journey. And I think I saw some comments in there. I wanted to make sure we got those. Um, salute, Isha Chico Jones. Thank you for joining us. We must check on our strong people. They carry so much. And that is a lot for you to have carried in college, particularly, right? Because really, when we think about our college kids, right, they're kids.
Yeah.
You're a kid in college. So how did you find your sense of belonging through that? How did you come out of all of that?
I learned quickly that whatever happened to me, I had to have some say in it for it to work. Like that was working for me. If I initiated something, it would work. And so I would initiate something and it will work. So to give you an example, I helped start a new group on campus. The idea of it and everything, I was deeply a part of. I think it was called African Americans United. I think that was the name of it. And and that organization brought together um, everybody, but mainly people of color on campus to do social things. So we were so spread out. We didn't really talk to each other. We didn't even really know each other. But that organization really brought people to me in my life that I didn't know I needed at the time that I needed. And so I'm learning in college that this works for me. So so fast forward to work. I become a teacher because I love children. I become a teacher and I realize that there's a need in the school, like a step team or a cheerleading team. I will start that and it will make me feel great. I will feel excited that I was doing something and inspiring others. So I'm learning mentally and emotionally that when I initiate something that I like and bring people on, that would bring me joy. But still, it would not really be true joy until I did the deep work with myself and acknowledged that deeply something was still wrong. But that was how I was coping with it, is taking things in. And my sister, she told me, she was like, "You were a leader since you were born." I was like, "Really?" Like, so my sister actually let me see that she thought that I was a leader. And I held on to that. I was like, okay, I must be a leader if my sister said I was a leader since I was born. So I took that and so leading became my way of trying to cope with being different and cope with being lonely, leading something that brought people to me and that made a difference. I knew that was the thing that was healing for me.
That's beautiful and such an amazing way to transmute, right, that pain into now creating community and connecting people, which it sounds like did give you something. It didn't give you everything, but I think even that acknowledgement that it's like it was a starting point, right? But from that starting point, you had to now dig into yourself, because so what I'm hearing is that it was like going from that loneliness to community, but there's still a little bit of loneliness within you.
Yes, because as a leader, just some people are natural born leaders. I believe I am. I really believe I am. As a leader, you often feel like you're on a journey by yourself. And it's okay. Like, leaders are okay with the journey being by themselves. But sometimes it's not okay. Sometimes you just want somebody to talk to vibe with, to be on your level. And sometimes, like somebody said in the chat, you just want somebody to take care of you because you spend so much time taking care of other people. Can somebody take care of me? I know I'm strong. I know I'm confident. I know it seems like I got it all together. But do you know me well enough to know when that's not happening?
That's such a
So,
powerful thing. Do you know me well enough? Well, and do I know myself well enough to recognize when I'm covering something and not really recognizing that too?
yes, I'm so glad you said that, because one of the struggles I had too was expression. I grew up in a family where expression was intense. It was like intense expression, passionate expression, but it wasn't articulating. I did not grow up practicing articulating my voice and my emotions and my mental state. And I had to learn how to articulate that for people to understand me. And I realized that that takes practice. Like, a lot of people, they don't know how to talk it out and talk it through. That wasn't part of my community. In my community, you put your hands up if something's wrong. It was no talking anything through. So I actually had to learn that. And so when I did get agitated or frustrated, my first inkling was not to talk, if you know what I'm saying. So, so I had to learn how to express myself and not because I know I lead with anger. Like, my personality always leads with anger, and then I back off. And so I had to learn that too. So just, you're right, like, learning not only how you are, who you are, and why you are, but then to express that to other people so that they can really understand you. It takes practice. That is not something most people are born with doing. And so practicing that really helped me.
Well, I love that. And when you said that, the reason I made that expression, because I was like I said, I announced, like at the very beginning, I was like, she was leading everybody in the conversation. Like, the energy, the expression is, to me, what I saw about you right away. Right. Like, so, but I think what you speak to is the complexity of when we have an outward appearance that people think they may know who we are, but in fact, inside and internally, we have our own struggles. And so I would ask you, like, when you said it takes practice, does it also somewhat take bravery, or did it take some kind of a bravery to do that expression? Because I always wonder that, right? To express our ideas and our feelings, we have to feel safe enough that they're going to be received too. That's part of the restriction on that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I still work on bravery. To this day, I think I still work on bravery. It does take bravery, but it also takes you having somebody in your life who models it. I had to learn it because I never experienced it. So, my husband, we're high school sweethearts. So, in high school, I met his family. And when I encountered his family, I encountered a different way of communicating, a different way of loving, a different way of handling issues that taught me that there was a different way that was okay, that did not compromise me as a person. It's a different way to express myself that did not compromise who I was or my personality or my soul. So when I got that model, I tweaked it for myself and practiced so that I will be able to turn into something that now this is Lakisha's way of expression. But it does take courage. Like for me, I think my healing was around being loved, learning how to love, because I had to learn that too. And then having the courage to take risk in certain situations with that love. Because when you're in survival mode, you don't just give your love away, you protect it. So how do I give it away vulnerably, but also protect myself wisely when it came to love? It did take courage, and being brave is something that I think I will always strive to be for the rest of my life. I think bravery is a process, not a thing, if that makes sense.
Yes, entirely. Because I think new experiences require different levels of bravery, right? So you're discovering things about yourself along the way. And I love the power of what you said in saying that you didn't want to lose you. Like you were learning a new way of expressing yourself, but also maintaining Lakisha and who she is. I see the chat blowing up. I want to honor it, and then I've got some more that we're going to dig into. So thank you so much. Sweet D says, great conversation. Welcome, Sweet D. So glad you're here. Coco June 37 says, becoming a leader during a period of loneliness is powerful. So true. And it's the continued growth within that, right? Because we are always evolving as leaders. We're never just in one place, right?
Right.
But so as you talk about Lakisha's way, right? What is that? What are the strengths of Lakisha's way to you that you've discovered?
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's part of my therapy too, like recognizing though and celebrating those parts that should be celebrated, because I'm so often giving to other people that I just breeze past me. So that was another part of my journey too, like who am I? What makes me Lakisha? And I think like the foundation of me is I think I'm here on this earth to heal people. So I think the foundation of me is healing myself so that God can use me to heal others. Like, I think that's my foundation. And then layered on top of that is my love for seeing other people grow. And that love is rooted in my own growth. So actually, when people encounter me as a life coach, as a doctor, as an educator, I don't look at it as I'm giving them something. I look at it as an exchange. I learn from everybody. So I give to you, you give to me. I learn from my clients. I learn from my colleagues. I learn from my friends. I learn from my family. And then I hopefully also give them something that they can hold on to. And so when I encounter everybody, I want it to be a learning experience for me and them in an exchange versus, oh, I'm just showing up to be on this stage and then walk off. I don't like that one-way communication. So I think my way is to honor people and who they are and where they come from, and use that to inspire myself while I am also motivating them to be their best selves. So I think that's my way for sure.
It's beautiful. And I think, so often we do things transactionally with people, and that's so much more reciprocal where everyone's gaining from it. And but it's feeding your soul is what it sounds like through that, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. So, okay, all of this and this journey led you to write your book.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your book and what has so try success, it won't bite. I love the title. Tell me what got you to that title first, and then let's talk
Well,
about the book.
Oh, I'm happy to talk about this title because it actually was hilarious. So, I wrote the book while I was a principal of a school on the weekends. It took me 2 years on the weekends. Every weekend, I would write a little bit, until I got to 10 chapters. I was like, okay, that's enough. And I would write this book. And I decided that the base of the book will be excellence. So excellence has 10 letters in it. So each chapter starts with a letter in the word excellence. And I do a lot of symbolic stuff like that. So I knew that was the book, but I didn't know the title. I was like, okay, this is the book. It's about excellence. It's like sort of like a memoir and a life coach in a book. I wanted it to be a life coach in a book. Like, even if you couldn't afford a life coach or go to a life coach, you read my book and you feel like you are going to make some positive change. So I had the book, was ready to publish it, didn't know it. While I'm going through this process, I go into my garage and I come out the next day with a huge like sore on my forehead. And I'm like, okay, it's just maybe like I just got bit by something. But it kept growing and growing and growing. It was awful. Like, I had to wear a headband and everything. And then when I went to the doctor, they were like, actually, we don't know what bit you. We don't know what bit you. I think it was a spider. To this day, I'm thinking I got bit by a spider. I have no idea because it was just huge and nasty and ugly. And I was like, wait a minute, you know what? That bite is symbolic of what I went through in my life and what people go through. Like, you're just on the path of life, and then something bites you and it gets nasty and it gets ugly and it grows, but yet you still have to deal with it. I still had to go to work with the headband on.
Mm-hmm.
I still
Can't stop.
So I said, okay, this book is about excellence and success your way. And I'll talk about what success means too, because it's different than what people think about success. But I was like, okay, to get to success, it's going to be painful, or it might not be, but it's going to be a process, a trial, a tribulation, similar to when you have a big nasty bite on your forehead and you still have to perform and go to work and everything. So try success, it won't bite means that even if you feel like it's going to be ugly, that it will hurt you, still try it and keep going.
And I love that because it's the fear, right? People are so fearful of success. We want it, but we are fearful of it at the same time. And it's such a weird dichotomy, right? But I love, I mean, everything about that, right? First of all, when you said each letter stands for a part of your chapter in your book, I was just thinking that is Lakisha all the way through. I'd like gotta have an acronym, and that acronym's gotta have a something to say about a message, right? That's beautiful, and I love it. I love it. But so what is success to you then?
Yeah, so I talk about in the book success not being money, cars, and clothes, because I have studied happiness, and happiness rarely has anything to do with being rich. As we know, a lot of rich people are unhappy, but success is your personal peace, joy, freedom, and happiness. So that's what I talk about. Success is, how do I gain peace? How do I gain love, joy? Freedom is my favorite word. How do I gain freedom, and how do I gain happiness? To me, those things give you success. And guess what? The money is just a residual effect. So in doing that, getting the money is a nice icing on the cake. But you say, if I have $1 million, I'd be happy. Really? You think you're going to be happy if you get $1 million? Let's see. Did you do your work yet? So, yeah, so that's what I talk about in the book. Just experiencing these things in a way that still gives you life excellence. Like one thing I talk about in the book is the power of change and anticipating change. And I when I coach people, I say, you know what? Life is built to bring you problems. Because people think they don't have to go through problems. They say, oh, I have a problem today. I can't believe this happened. But life is going to bring you problems. So let's establish that life's job is to bring you problems. But what's the purpose of problems? The purpose of a problem is for you to grow. Come on, that's right. It's for you to grow, solve it, get better. So let's wake up every day saying, what problem am I going to have today? And what am I going to do to solve it? What tools am I going to use in my life to solve it? Am I going to use my spiritual tools? Am I going to use my creative tools? What tools am I going to use to solve these problems? So that's just an example of what I talk about in the book.
I love that, but that's pain to power, right? Take your pain and turn it into your power for certain. And Kenneth Williams says, can't be scared of how your idea might come out. Just do it and know it's going to be ups and downs, but it's up to you to know self-preservation and how to deal with it all. It is certainly. And Coco June 37 says, well said. OMG, definitely. Hi, cousin. Oh, you got fam here too. I love it. We got our ranters fam. We got Lakisha's fam. We got fans and supporters. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. So let me ask you, because what you said was pretty transformational, because I think success doesn't always get spoken about in that way. And I love the way you frame that: peace, joy, and freedom. And it is, right? It is, because it's almost like success is really this internal success of life. Thank you and welcome, Last Men of Men, having the tools and open to receive the lessons. So in thinking about that, like, how often when people come to you for life coaching, have you had to really change their perception and like have them unlearn some of those messages? And how has that been for you?
Oh, it's been so great. I love life coaching because my clients come to me about something, but it's always something else. Like, a client may come to me because they want to learn how to start a business. Okay, but before you learn how to start the business, you have to deal with this thing over here. Maybe it's procrastination, or maybe it's like a deep-rooted need to do something different that may not turn out to be a business. It may be another direction. So for me, the joy is like the journey. Like, what journey are you going to go on, or how can I really address that you want to start a business in a way that once you start the business, you'll sustain it. So that is the powerful thing to me about life coaching, and just encountering people from all over. Most of my coaching is on Zoom, so I can coach anybody from all over the United States. And just hearing that even though we come from all different parts of the United States, and even internationally, but we all have the same things that we're dealing with. And I think that unity reminds me of when I used to be a cheerleader coach, or, when I brought people together. It's my way of still doing that thing that makes me happy, is bringing people together. So especially when I do group coaching, one thing that we do is we do something called a hot seat, where someone brings a problem to the group, and then everybody in the group works together to help that person solve the problem. And in helping someone else, you're actually helping yourself and learning. And so we go through that process as well. So just peeling the onion, like peeling the onion of life, so that we can walk away better than when we came. And I have to say that most of my clients, they do tell me that they walk away better than what they came with. So
it's growth. It's growth, whatever that growth is going to be. And it sounds like people think they're coming for one thing. I love how you said that, but you take them to where they need to go. So you really are looking for the root cause of what's that block to the success.
Yes. And that's what I had to do. That's what I had to do 10 years ago, when I realized, even though I was successful, college graduate, working in education, growing at work, I was still lonely. I was still lonely to the point where I had pain in my chest. I didn't know why the pain was there. I went to the doctor. The doctor said, "You're healthy." I was like, "Well, why do I have this pain?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then in my prayer one day, God was like, "You can't move forward until you address the pain." I was like, "Huh, God? I can't move forward until I address the pain." And I assumed it was the pain in my chest. So I ended up going to a counselor. And the counselor made me realize that I had some dark things that I actually blocked out of my life that I forgot happened to me. And those things were causing me, even though I was married to my husband for years, high school sweetheart, had children, everything, those things that I blocked out of my life were causing me to still feel lonely. And after going to that counselor for about 6 months, I hadn't had the pain. The pain went away. I was like, oh, that was really the deep rooted pain. And so I tell my clients, and like I tell everybody, you need a village around you that's just for you. You need a life coach, and you need a counselor, and you need a therapist, and you need a nutritionist. It's okay to build a village around yourself to help heal that pain in your heart. I had literal pain, but some people have more, not literal, but to help with that pain, you have to build a support system around you. And that's going to look different for everybody. It's going to look different for everybody. One of my clients I coached, I said, maybe you need somebody to help you clean your house. That's part of your village. The house cleaner now comes in to help you with your dwelling. So how can you use your resources, limited or not, to help build a village around you? Because that is going to help strengthen you and give you room to heal.
I love that, because so often, particularly as women, we think that we need to do it all ourselves. And that is an unlearning right there. That village, this idea to reach out to others, to want others, and to need that as a strength is so powerful. And I love that that's the message that you are sending. So who is your village? Now you had your counselor, but who is the rest? Like, who are some of the people in that village for you that have helped you continue to stay strong and power through the challenges? Because like you said, problems are going to happen, right? So who has helped you through those things?
Oh my goodness, a lot of people. If I leave you out, I'm sorry, Charles.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be names, but just right, like So Well Soul.
No, but I do
I've
want to
learned
make
that from Lakisha, and I have become a much better human.
Oh,
That's a testament to your work. I love it.
You know what? I think I have to give it to my husband. My husband knows flaws and all, and he still loves me so unconditionally and so lovingly, that I definitely think my husband being my best friend first in high school and then morphing into this beautiful relationship where we have kids and everything. Definitely my husband is one of those people who I feel like is part of my village. And then of course my mom. She calls me every single day and she checks on me when I'm traveling. I just want to know you're okay. Like, to know that someone is thinking about me, even though I'm just doing what I do, is so powerful. And I want to say my sister, she lives like 10 minutes away from me. I think she's on here. She's like the wind beneath my wings. Like when I need a cheerleader, like my sister's my cheerleader. She's like, you can do it. Oh, I know you can do it. Don't worry about it. Like, she's the one who saw me before I saw myself, my sister. And then I can say all of my other family, my cousins, you see my cousins are here. Hey, cousins. They bring me joy. And then I have to give homage to my friends. And I don't just have friends outside of work. I have friends at work, at my job. So my friends, they know me as well. And they give me what I need. Because sometimes I can be a little stubborn, a little hard-headed, and they give me that push, or they hold me accountable, or they let me cry on their shoulders. So I do feel that they are part of my village. But in addition to going to that counselor, I liked the counseling because the counselor was someone who spoke to me who had no interest other than trying to help me. And that felt good. So I've had a couple of therapists along the way. That wasn't the only counseling experience. After that, I think I got like 2 more therapists to work through some depression and some things like that. And therapy really works for me. I know every time I recognize that something's not right internally, now I know, oh, I can go get therapy. And that's very liberating too, to know I don't have to deal with it myself. Because as women, we are also trained to deal with things by ourselves. We don't lean on each other. We
Mhm.
walk we walk the earth alone. And you know, with Black women, the strong Black woman, at first I was like, don't call me that. I had to work through that. I'm like, stop calling me the strong Black woman, because I'm not strong all the time, and that's a stereotype. But I am strong, but I'm a strong person.
Mm.
It has nothing to do with like the color of I'm just a strong person, just like everybody else. We are all strong. Even studies show that happiness is something that we're all born with, and humans recover from tragedy easier than we think. That's what the studies say. So we're all strong. So I accept the strong now. But at first I was like, just because I'm a Black woman doesn't mean I'm strong. Yeah, I get weak, I cry, I'm fearful, I get all those things. And I want the liberty to do that. I want the liberty to
Mm.
cry.
Well, and
Yeah.
And I wonder, like the way you're describing that, like I think we also have to shift our narrative of strong, right? It kind of goes back to the quote I said at the beginning, right? It's this like reclaiming of what it is, because strength is crying, strength is vulnerability, strength
Oh,
is all of the love, like all of it. And yes, it's powerful as well, right? Like, and it's all. I love it. Last Man of Men, welcome. Greg says, how does she understand the client? There isn't a cookie cutter coaching for everyone. How do you understand how to deliver the lesson to the client in their individual way of learning? That's a great question. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that. That is why I named my business Success My Way Coaching, because I want to give everybody success their way. Sometimes I get clients who just want to be better moms. Sometimes I have clients that just want to communicate better. Sometimes I have clients that want to build a business. Sometimes I have clients that retire and they're looking to transition their life. And so I don't want people to come to me and I give them a cookie cutter way to do anything. I deal with everyone at their level with their success, how they want success to be. I learn them. So what I do is I do human studying.
Mm.
So usually when I encounter someone, I have encountered them before, just in another person, in another personality. But most people, I've seen you before, just
Mm-hmm.
in a different way. So the studying of human nature, I study body language. I was on a call with someone. I was like, are you stressed out? And they were like, yeah, I got something to do. But I saw their body language. They were like, all this, they had stressful
Mm-hmm.
body language. So I am a studier of people, and I study what people need. And I seek to coach them in what they need. And when I coach, I don't tell people how to do things. I suggest, because I want people to take ownership of their own journey. So I suggest and help them along their journey and give them work along their own individual journey. And that's why my business is Success My Way, because my clients get success individually. Everybody should feel like I'm dealing with their issues individually, and not that, oh, you're just coming into Lakisha's program. I do have courses and things like that, but I don't bring people into my program. I actually enter into theirs.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love that. I love, so have you felt that approach allows people to own their own success and destiny and what's meant for them, their purpose?
Absolutely. It does a couple things. It either helps them sustain it once they get it, or it helps them realize that that's not really what they want. Because a lot of people think they want a certain thing when really you really want something else, but you think you're going to get it in this thing. And so it helps them reroute their path. And so I like doing that. So I like help people reroute. I'm like, is that the path you let's see if that's really the path. And if it's not, I want to quickly reroute you because you're on the wrong path. I'm like, okay, we got to turn around. So yeah, that's the exciting part for me.
Well, I love that Coco Dreams says so success looks differently for everyone. It does, right? So I want to take us back a little bit because we're starting to talk about leadership, and leadership is your knowledge base, right? Like that is important to you. But I'm wondering, you mentioned a lot about this, the loneliness that you felt as a leader.
Yeah.
Are there certain things that you've noticed and patterns for particularly leaders who are women that are those challenges that you see people have needed to overcome, or even like suggestions you have of ways to approach being a leader as a woman?
Oh yes, wow. Um, so the first thing about being a woman in leadership is that it's not a lot of us. So that's where the loneliness comes from. You enter into the stratosphere of work that's male dominated.
Mm.
So then you try to find your way in that, and that can be a struggle. So for a lot of women leaders, it's the struggle between giving your all at work and giving your all to your family, and trying to figure out the way to do that. I hesitate to use the word balance because there's really not a such thing as balance. But you can have the ratio. The ratio can become something that you're satisfied with, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
with women leaders, the ratio of work to family to self has to be right in order for them to thrive in leadership. And so, as a leadership coach as well, I help leaders try to find that ratio that works. Because as a leader, the reason why you are a leader is because you do what nobody else does. You're willing to do what nobody else does. Somebody say, "Well, what is a leader?" It's somebody who's willing to do
Yeah.
what nobody else will. So in doing that, you may have to sacrifice some parts of yourself, some parts of your family. And sometimes that doesn't feel good. It feels out of balance. And so how do I work that so I won't get depressed? So I'll get lonely, but how do I pick myself back up? So some of the
Mm-hmm.
strategies I use with leaders is to help them learn more about who they are. So I give them a lot of assessments. One assessment that I absolutely love, and I suggest every leader take it, is the Enneagram assessment. Have you ever heard of the Enneagram?
No, tell me more.
The Enneagram, I love this assessment because it was created with different religions and nationalities in mind. It's an internationally woven assessment, whereas most personality assessments are created by white men.
Mm-hmm.
This one more this one is more international. And what it does is it gives you a number, and based on your number, it's a test of your core desires and your core fears. So when I give a leader this test, it tells me the leader's core desires and it tells me the leader's core fears. And it tells me how they are in different spaces, how you are as a mom or as a worker or as in a relationship with someone. And so when I share these results, and I do take like whole sessions to just go over the results with leaders of this test, it opens their eyes, say, you know what? I feel like I want to give up, but really I don't want to give up. I'm just experiencing something that's so hard for me right now. I'm trying to back up out of it. So how do
Mm.
I lean in and with that instead of backing out of it? Because I'm really happy here. I'm just struggling really bad with this one thing. After that test, they may realize that you are where you're supposed to be as a leader. So let's talk about some strategies you can use to fix those seemingly humongous problems. But yeah.
I think that's so powerful though, because this idea of fears, right? Like part of it is when you name a fear, you're able to actually counter it, or to get over it a little bit, because now you've identified what it is. And it sounds like that almost takes the stigma from fear away when you introduce it that way, because now I'm ready to tackle it. Now I'm seeing it as, okay, it's really a barrier to that I have to bridge to get to the next place.
Yeah, it's like fear in its place, because fear is this big thing that stops us. Fear is a dream killer. It stops us from going towards our dream. But if you take that big fear and squeeze it and smash it up and put it in its place, now you can strategize with that. Still having the fear. The fear doesn't really go away, but you can strategize with it and put it in its place. And you're right. Like, I call it psychoeducation. Like, if I have psychoeducation about myself, fear gets put in its place.
I love that. And there's so much power in that. So we are coming to a close almost, but I want to give you an opportunity to share some of the other things. So Success My Way is very much your passion and what you do, but you have many other projects. Can you share a little bit more with me, some of the other things you're doing, and how do we continue to follow you? We now know that if we're leaders, and I am hoping a lot of my educational leaders are in here and are going to tap into some support and your book for sure, because leadership is a lonely place. I think I'm seeing that more and more in my role in education and talking to many leaders. And there's a lot here that can help us. But what are some of the other things you've got going on?
Yeah, so like you see on the screen, I have an academy where I help people, and I deal with the 12 areas of life. First of all, most people don't even know they have 12 areas of life.
What are the 12? Well, now we got to talk about them. What are the 12 areas of life? I mean, Lakisha, you opened it up.
Let's see if I remember the 12 areas. Okay, let me see if I can remember most of them. Okay, so creativity, community, money, spirituality, travel, family and friends, intimacy. And intimacy is with a spouse, or into me. See, that's like I call it love. It's the love category. Okay, I can't remember the rest of them.
That's all right, but that's a lot. So 12 areas of life. And then what do we do with understanding these 12 areas of our life?
So what I do in this academy, I give you a wheel. On the wheel are all the 12 areas. That's why I don't have to memorize. And you rate your satisfaction. You rate your life satisfaction on this wheel. And then we talk about it one-on-one. What are the areas that you're not satisfied with? And then I take people through a series of lessons. And then I give them the wheel again at the end of the 6 weeks or so. And we realize that I think 100% of the people I coach actually show some growth in that 6 weeks, because the lessons are tailored to areas of life. And the whole program is great. You have some group coaching, you have some one-on-one coaching with me, you have some life work. And so this 12 area of life wheel is how I book in the course. So that's how I use it. And the academy is wonderful. Also, what I have cooking. Yes. And those are my 10 coaching principles that I use throughout the lessons. Also, I have going on right now, because it's very timely. It's almost Christmas. And if you notice, I have a Christmas tree in my background. It's because I love the holiday of Christmas and I love children. So smash them together, and I created a nonprofit called the Christmas Experience Incorporated. And it is a 501c3 where I help children who were like me, who love Christmas but didn't have the means, the money to have a great Christmas. I help children have great Christmases, and I provide toys, food, and Christmas trees to families in need. I work hand in hand with schools and crisis centers to serve them. And I'm happy to say this is also our 10th year in existence. We are partnering this year with Target Corporation to do this locally for the DMV. So I'm really, really excited. And so I'm knee deep in that right now. So that is definitely like my heart project. Is the Christmas Experience Incorporated. And I have a fantastic board, all women of color, the entire board. And we have been doing this for a long time. So I just want to shout out my board, shout out all of my volunteers. I have 20 plus volunteers. Shout out Target for your support and your grant help with everything. So if you want to learn more about that or donate, please go to tchristmase.org, tchristmase.org, and you can find pictures there and learn more about the nonprofit.
I love it. And it's also in your direct me or your link tree, which is linked down below in YouTube. Make sure you go and check it out. That link will take you to all of the YouTube channels, the books, and my Christmas experience as well. So you'll be able to donate. And definitely that is so timely with the holidays coming up. Thank you so much, Lakisha. And thank you so much for your time today. Like, this has been such a great conversation. I know we're two years away in getting it to happen, but I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
So grateful that we finally made it real, right? So
yes, this was a great conversation. Thank you for this. I've been on other podcasts, but the pain to power is so powerful. It's a powerful concept, and I just want to encourage you. Keep going, keep doing this. Even if you help one person, you have done so much. So I just want to encourage you to keep going with this. It's a very unique concept that's definitely needed in the world today. So thank you for this and doing this.
thank you so much. And thank you. So before we close out, I want to know for you, you said at the beginning, I know that acknowledging yourself is a harder thing, but what are the things you are really proud of yourself for? Because this is a lot you've accomplished. And I'm like, and now I've known you, Lakisha, since 2020, right? And I'm like, we've had so many conversations, and so much of this is still like, wow. Like, she did all that. Like, and I know there's Unbound Ed friends working, like, who are watching this right now. We're also like, you show up and you're amazing, but you don't even talk about all the things you're doing. So, what are those things that you are most proud of?
Oh goodness. I think I'm most proud of really raising my kids. I didn't mention it, but I'm a mom of 4 children. And to be true to myself while also raising human beings to be true to themselves and to see their growth. 2 of them are grown at this point, and to see them as grown people doing their thing, I'm like, yeah, okay, I did something right there. So I think that's like one of the biggest things I'm proud of. And then another thing I think I'm proud of is my revelation that I have a gift, and that gift must be shared in order for me to feel fulfilled. So, and I believe that gift is helping people live happy and abundant lives and healing through that process. And once I realized that that was my destiny, that is what I was put on this earth to do, it opened me up to so many possibilities, and it caused me to sustain business, life, and love because of that. So a lot of people take their greatness to the grave, but I feel like my greatness is right now. So I think I'm proud of that.
And that's a beautiful thing. It's flourishing. Your greatness is flourishing, and it's helping others. So you have found that ratio, it sounds like.
Yes,
that
I
has
did.
truly helped you get to where, like this ability to do it all, per se, right? Like, nobody ever does it all, but you do all of it to the point of your purpose, and showing up authentically in all of it, and continuing to heal others. So thank you so much. Thank you for being with us tonight. Definitely go check out all of Lakisha's books. Go and check out Success My Way on YouTube. Make sure you click the links below, all of it. Follow me as well. I am Brown Girl Interrupting, and I have to give a big shout out again to my producer, Mr. M. Jaw Logic, the man behind the scene, always amazing. To all of our Ranters fam for coming in, and all of the audience and supporters who have been here tonight to support us. And please make sure that you you comment, and you follow and subscribe to the channel. Click the link below as well. Coco Chamber 7 says you, right? It's a lot, but beautiful and amazing. And tune in every Sunday at 9 p.m. for more stories of pain to power, because yes, this is a journey we are all on, trying to discover and find our way to transmute those moments that we know are going to come
to heal ourselves and to forge our own paths and what that means. So let's create our own narratives and not just to come to whatever we have been given and thought to be. So thank you again. Well, thank you, Lakisha. And thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. Please make sure to tune in every Sunday at 9 o'clock here on Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube. And please make sure if you have a Roku TV that you go to your Roku TV network. I don't know, Lakisha, if you know, and my friends who are in the chat, on Roku TV, go to the iRant channel, and you will be able to see Pain to Power and many other shows that are on the iRant network that are produced by Mr. M himself, as well as many amazing hosts and different people doing different projects on the channel itself. So please go and download iRant on your Roku TV or your Roku stick and make sure that you are following all of us. And thank you again to Lakisha. Have a beautiful evening, and peace, love, and light.
My world has slowly crumbled around me countless times, and every time I rebuild with the pieces I've been given to birth something so transformational and beautiful that no one else knew might exist before it was shown to them. These moments tend to coincide within my romantic path. The universe has been telling me to focus on the revolution and not romance. It has over time given me the tools, resilience, and light to turn my pain into power. And only now do I see that the key to this always resided in the love and knowing I had in myself, not from the external sources of family or men. The message I have been avoiding might be that my time in this world I had existed in was not to receive love, but to put it out there for others to see, feel, and heal through. Revolution before romance moves pain into power.